It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. That's correct. It is time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show. We'll be talking to Blake Sloan coming up in just moments. But first of all, let me give you some contact information. You're going to hear so much information in the next 30 minutes. You're probably going to want to know more about what you hear. Very easy to do. Just call Blake at his office at Sloan Realty Group. Sloan Realty Group. Make sure you got the right place. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808 SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. It's all pretty easy, but in case you miss it, I will give you the information several times over the next 30 minutes. Time now to go ahead and bring him in, get the show started. Here's Blake Sloan.
Yes, sir. Got an awesome brand new show. Tons of great things we'll talk about. Obviously, first of all, big thoughts and prayers to everyone that had, all the difficulties through this hurricane and flooding and things like that. And so our team's been out helping some of the community with that, and just definitely praying for everybody to get that recovery as fast as possible, for sure. But today we'll talk about, really one thing that we've gotten a lot of questions about is what are the effects of the hurricane. Like, we had a few people call that were wanting to sell before, and even one on the market. It's like, hey, look, no one's going to buy after a hurricane, which isn't exactly true at all. And so I'm going to go over the numbers and show kind of what happened after Matthew, because guess what? There was that one little dip for pending sales, and you saw that being made up, following month where it jumps back up. And so the one good thing is that a lot of people from out of town especially have a very short memory when it comes to that, especially when it gets cold in Ohio and all these other places. We see that a lot. But ultimately, one of the things that, we'll kind of look at is just, and another thing, we made hundreds and hundreds of calls. We'll talk about this in a few, to buyers. That was one of the first things our team did. Like 95% are still coming down, still buying.
Right.
And some of the media hype, I think, for the initial storm, may have scared a few people, but everyone we talked to was still planning full steam ahead. And that's something to talk about too for anyone thinking about that. So a lot of times people tend to think, if the areas that obviously weren't affected by the flooding and stuff, but I will talk about what those numbers mean, kind of what to look for, especially for anyone who is looking to make a move in the future. It's going to be okay. It is okay. And I'll show you the data to help back that up, which is very, very important. We'll also talk about the micro market numbers. Last week we talked about the macro market numbers. Obviously, the overall feeling that we will see a dip in the future, slightly because of basically missing an entire week and sometimes 2 weeks of like our office shut down almost a whole week. But we were still pushing hard, and so you will see that being made up in a later month. So all it's going to do is it'll skew the numbers for a month or so, but not that big a deal. But we'll talk about last month's numbers as well. One deep kind of story will go over just kind of what national pending home sales are doing, how we compare to that. I've had the list past few weeks, haven't had time to get to it. Some awesome new success stories we're proud of. Our team was crushing it during the hurricane too, from people putting deals together. We put 3 listings under contract during the evacuation, which is pretty impressive. I'm pretty proud of our team for that. And also, we're hiring. We're still hiring. We have 2 spots for 2 A players who want to join our team. We're doing another success school, we call it, and looking for 2 A players to join our team because we have a massive amount of buyer leads from across the country that we need, A players to help, who want to have a very, very high level service, who want to deliver to our clients, and we'll talk about that as well.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to here as far as the show is concerned. If you just tuned in for the very first time, don't know who Blake is. He's been called a real estate whiz kid. You've seen him in Forbes magazine, maybe the Wall Street Journal, maybe Realtor magazine, other national publications as well. On TV, NBC, also been on the morning show with Fox and Friends. And you've heard the personal endorsements right here on this very radio station from Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, Barbara Corcoran, from Gary LaVatz, and a whole lot more. Add them all together, it is unprecedented. Now, Blake also has trademark systems people use all over the country. Now, these are trademark systems, and they're kind of secrets, but he does like to give out at least the most important part of the whole trademark system as far as if there's one really aspect to this trademark system that's above each and every part, that's what you're going to tell us, right?
It has to do with the variables, right? So ultimately, what people realize is the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only, and that's the agent you choose. The same thing in the buy side. It comes down to how the agent that you choose, right, and how they execute. And so what that means is, and the reality of that is, In selling a house, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what that does? That puts money in your pocket, your hard-earned equity, and the property gets sold. If anything's handled incorrectly, aka that ball gets dropped, which could be anything from a buyer not getting answered when they call on your property, a buyer not getting called back, right? Leads not being converted, the property not being shown right, an error in negotiation. All these things that may not have gotten done correctly can cost you money or potentially that sale. And so what we did, we identified all those variables, A to Z. That's why we have those 118 of them, and we create a system that's proven and repeatable, where it creates maximum leverage every single point. And so what happens is you stack those up piece by piece by piece. We create small gaps, right? You add all those gaps up. It's like stacking a domino. So at the end, there's a big, tremendous gap between us and everyone else, and allows our property to sell faster and for more money. And so it's like pretty much like we talk about stacking the dominoes. And we say all the time, a great analogy is when somebody gets to a marathon, right? You may look the same, similar size, build, height, weight, all that stuff, but then they start running that marathon. Guess what? Inch by inch, one person starts creeping away, and some will finish 3 hours ahead of someone else in some cases for like an Ironman or things like that. And so the reality is the same exact thing that we do in regards to getting your property sold. It's something that we designed. It works very, very well. One is something that's proven repeatable and also scalable. And so most agents you see, they're just trying to basically go by the seat of their pants, hope they can just hit the little alligators when they pop out, aka their task, what needs to be done while they're trying to keep up. And so ours, that's for sellers, called the guaranteed sold system. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. For home buyers out there, guess what? 100 plus variables, different variables, almost the opposite ones, because you're on the opposite side of the spectrum. It's called an unfair advantage home buying system. Gives you priority access to all the foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation, both in the purchase price, also through the home inspection process, and also making sure you're getting protection all the way through closing. And so that's our unfair advantage home buying system. But both of those, what they do is they give our client the ultimate competitive advantage when they're buying or selling. And some people underestimate the importance of that by just thinking of all those agents the same. It could not be further from the truth, for sure.
All right, sounds good. We got a long way to go in this show. Remember, as we said, if you'd like to get in touch with Blake, you can, to find out more information about the stuff you're going to hear through the day. You can give him a call at his office at Sloan Realty Group. Sloan Realty Group, the name of the place. Call 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to BlakeSloan.com. I'm going to hear just a minute, like Blake said, some of the stuff about the micro markets and the real estate update as a whole in the area. And also, we'll have a look at the interest rates, see what those numbers look like. That's all next on the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, if you own property in Myrtle Beach, the national marketing plan of the realtor that you choose is absolutely critical. Now, that's exactly why you need to talk to Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group. Now, Blake has a marketing system on a whole different level than anyone else in Myrtle Beach. That's so effective at capturing local home buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. While most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer, Blake attracts hundreds of buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. Now, that's why, on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at BlakesGuarantee.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international market creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Just getting started on the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Call Blake at his office at Sloan Realty Group, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Or go online to BlakeSloan.com, BlakeSloan.com. The interest rates, what they look like, coming up in just a second. First of all, let's see what things are looking like in the markets as we break things down into the micro level, Blake.
So we'll get into the micro market, and interest rates. We have some huge news there too. Some crazy numbers, like one of the highest in 7 years right now. We'll get to that in a second. But really quick, that I want to cover that, why the numbers in front of me, and I forget. But everybody has that concern about what happens after the hurricane,
Sure,
right? And so, like, one of our sellers called and he's like, "Hey, I want to pull my house to the market." And we're like, "Well, why's that?" And he's like, "'Cause we're getting tons of showings." He's like, well, no one's going to buy a house after the hurricane. I'm like, well, yeah, they are. You know, they have been obviously since that. And if you look back, what we had, the 1,000-year flood, then we have Matthew, then we had Irma, which wasn't that big a deal, but it was going to be. And then we had, you know, obviously this past one, right? And that was what, the past 4 years? Because Matthew, what was Matthew? That was in like September 16, is that about right?
16 October 16.
Yep. So like right here, so if you look at what happened, so in September 2016, there were 457 resale homes that sold, right? Okay, if you go to October, and I'm looking at like a line graph here, there's a huge drop down to 359. And so during that month, that's when you see that huge drop happen. And it starts creeping back up in November. But we have to look at, there's a 30-day, you know, kind of, I guess, time period that people close in the house. So they write it up, and let's say October, it doesn't close in November, right? So long story short, you see a drop between September and October, AKA when that was trying to close. So what happened, if you remember, we were talking about this in my show, it's probably on YouTube, is that they have to go through, do re-inspections of the property. Anything that's pending, that's getting financing. So it delays the closing a little bit. And so what I'm getting at, on the line graph, you see a huge jump back in November and December, back to over 400 homes sold each month in that process. And so what that means, even though there was some damage and some things that happened, my house got some damage there, ultimately, the buyers came right back into the game right after that, which is good news, right? Even in December. So if you look at December 16, 402 homes sold, right? And you go back into December of 15, there's only 348. And so you can see that jump there. So what happens, I was talking about this with one of my business coaches this past week, just how we play strategy and do I pull my foot off the pedal and things like that from a marketing standpoint. And we decided no. And our bet based on our previous data was that the sales will be there. You just they're going to be delayed a few months, right? And so now there's going to be a small percentage that maybe get scared and go somewhere else. But ultimately, I mentioned the buyers we have. So the first thing that we did with our team this week back on Monday, hammer the phones, call all their current buyers they had, all their current clients they had, and obviously buyers that were hot, and we call them nurturers who are coming from out of town. And so we immediately met yesterday and also midweek on Thursday. But we said, hey, what was the overall consensus? And everyone said 95% of them all still want to come down, still looking in that regard. And so that's something, you know, from an overall market feel. Now, there's micro market issues, like the areas had tremendous flooding. That's a different story. But we're talking about the macro market here as a whole, which is people coming to Myrtle Beach. The majority of people that, you know, we see that's, you know, adding to population are selling from up north, selling in other areas, moving here, and buying something. And so that's something that we had. So if you're a seller out there thinking about that, just know there's still gonna be homes sold, right? People make this knee-jerk reaction a lot of times without looking at the data, because why? Emotionally, we want to feel like that's going to be the case, right? Because we're in that moment, in that place. Now, if you look at the data backing it up, the same exact thing, right? And so you see the same kind of thing last year a little bit too. You know, you kind of see that drop a little bit between September and October. You kind of see a drop in September last year, which I think is when Irma came, right?
I'm not exactly sure.
I think that was in September. So like you see a drop last year between August and September. It goes from 577 to 427 in September last year, and right back up next month to over 450 sales in October last year. And so that's something that is very important to understand from a data standpoint. Historically, there will be a dip that specific month, but then what happens is everyone else is back on the market. There's a wild card in there though. What happens is some of the properties have flood damage, right, which is going to put a strain on the amount of inventory on there, which we already know is already tight. And so it could be a huge advantage for anyone selling. Not that you want to play that, but obviously I'm a businessman. I look at data. The supply and demand of that is what happens, right? And so there is going to be a need for people to sell. And so just know that if you are someone that is thinking about that, and everybody, I get that question. I must have got that question 10 times this week. So I wanted to make sure I could share that data, understand that, and more than happy to break that down with anyone as well, so they can kind of see the screen in that part. So that's just something really quick to kind of look at too. Look at last month's numbers really quick. If you look at last month's numbers, sales for closed resale homes was down 6.2% compared to the same month last year. We're seeing that kind of across the board. Again, it has to do a lot with inventory. Look at new construction sales last month, up 3.8% overall, which is great news for new construction homes. Prices are pretty much flat right now over the same time last year. They're right at 220,000. It's up 0.9%. So pretty much the same exact thing. And so we're seeing that kind of level off. We talked about there's two things right now that are kind of playing that are guiding this missile, so to speak. One is interest rates going up, and two, a lack of inventory. And so you're seeing that same thing across the country. We talked about that some of the past few weeks overall with that. If you look at, basically resale homes, the inventory on the market is down 10.3%. Right now, we're still at 5.2 months of inventory. And so we may see that go down here further, obviously, in the next few months coming into this fall market. And so that's something you want to kind of keep in mind overall with that. New construction, they're down 3.8% at 5.1 months of inventory on the market overall. And I forgot to do new construction pricing a minute ago. So new construction pricing is at 259,000 even, and it's up 7% from the same month last year. And so both up still. There was a slight decline in sales for resales. Again, it has to do with the inventory challenges and also a little bit of interest rates going up, but it's something we're going to keep watching as well. And so if you guys remember, in the past few weeks, we talked about that national article where pending sales went down for 6 straight months across the country. And so that's something we're going to continue watching and see what's happened there. And there's an explanation of that, which I'll get into a little bit today. So really quick, that was the overall macro market update. So into the micro market really quick, so you can kind of fly through this. Again, this is what everyone likes to hear. Is where I get a lot of questions about the most. What's my area doing, right? What's my zip code doing? And so I thought that Myrtle Beach for last month, median sales price jumped up 15%. So huge jump there in the city of Myrtle Beach. Median price went from $290 to $333,500. Year to date, which is obviously the rolling average, price is up 4.8% in Myrtle Beach, which is great news. Sales are up 12.6% year to date in there, which is awesome news there as well. And actually, the inventory in Myrtle Beach last month went up slightly. It went up from 354 homes to 361. So a slight jump there, which is helpful in that regard. Condos in Myrtle Beach, closed sales last month dropped 4.9%, and year to date up 2.6%. Last month prices for condos in Myrtle Beach up 6.3%. So right at 126,000 even. Into North Myrtle Beach, last month closed sales up 1.6%. Interesting enough, year-to-date sales North Myrtle Beach is down 1.6%, the exact same numbers, which is interesting there as well. The median sales price last month dropped 11.6% in North Myrtle Beach. Good news is year-to-date it's exactly flat, right at 300,000. Right. So if you're seeing a pattern here, the pattern is kind of, you're seeing them level off a little bit, right? And I was reading too, we'll talk about how you see prices go up. It does, and rates go up at the same time. You will see them level off a little bit because it does put some buyers out of the marketplace, or they're not willing to move at that point. Kind of creates that stalemate we were talking about a while back. Inventory was down almost 10% last month at North Myrtle Beach, 9.8%, and condos kicking butt last month in North Myrtle Beach up 23.6%, which is great news there. Year-to-date condos up 3.9% in North Myrtle Beach. And prices up 9.9% year to date for condos, right at 183,000 even, which is great news there as well. Into Loris and Long, which is probably going to obviously be having some difficulties here after this. We have a lot of properties we sell, and they're even active listings, and so we're trying to get a feel for that right now. Closed sales last month dropped 18.5%. They were up 5.5% year to date, which is great. Prices up year to date are up 10% in Longs and Loris. 165 even. You're probably not going to see a huge decline in prices from my experience because there will be less inventory. Obviously, that specific house, if it has damage, will obviously be worth a little bit less until it's fixed. But that's one thing that you hopefully won't see too big of a drop. We're going to watch that and kind of see what happens there as well. The one thing too cool, they're getting 97.8% asking price in there on average, which is amazing. The main reason you're seeing this is inventory. So inventory in Loris and Longs was down 26.5% last month, a huge jump. So we're pretty much missing, 1/4 of the amount of houses that were on the market before, is why you're kind of seeing that. And so that's where you're seeing the pressure with prices move up 10% as well. Obviously not a whole lot of condo sales there as well. Surfside Beach, closed sales, interesting here, year to date down 12.2%. And last month sales were down 22.8%. It went from 57 to 44. So it's not huge, with some of the smaller numbers, it's not a big deal, as big as it seems. So prices, though, which everyone cares about, up 6.7% year to date at 239,500. Condos are kicking butt as well. Last month in Surfside up 10.5%. Median price last month was up 16.8%. So they went from 86,000 to 101,000 for median price, which is awesome news for Surfside. Year to date, their prices are up 16% for condos in Surfside. Garden City in Rose Inlet. Year-to-date sales are up 5% overall. Last month they had a slight drop. They went from 100 sales down to 86, which is a 14% drop overall. Condos up 17% for the year, and prices up 4.4% for the year to 155,000. In the Carolina Forest, year-to-date sales are up 15.2%, but last month there's a slight decline, 8.6% decline in sales. The great news though is prices last month and year-to-date are up. Prices up 7.2%. Median price in Carolina Forest, you've seen this move up, is 266,967. And it's crazy to think, been doing this for so long, watching median price of Carolina Forest go to 300,000. I remember back, a few years back, it was like, high 100s right into twos. And so great news for Carolina Forest homeowners. We've seen that neighborhood, that whole, PUD, we call it, plan development there, kind of obviously get very, very big and mature, which is awesome. Socksteed, sales year to date up 9.1%. Median sales price up 8.4%. Median price of Socksteed 195. And last month, man, they just crossed the 200,000 mark. Median price last month 213,000, up 9.5% overall, which is awesome. Into Conway, sales were flat last month. The exact same number sold last month as the same month last year, which is interesting, right? 148 homes. Year to date, sales are up 3.6%, which is awesome there, and prices up 7.3% year to date overall for a Conway market at 169, 125. Last couple ones here is Little River. Closed sales jumped up big time last month. So, for example, in August 2017, there were 46 sales. In August of this year, which is last month, 73. So a 58% jump in sales in Little River, which is huge. Year to date, sales in the river up 22.4%, which is awesome news overall. You're going to see the lag indicator is going to be jumping up, is going to be price here, because price only up 6% year to date, right at 214,000. You're going to see that probably move up the next few months because of obviously such a sharp drop, a sharp increase in the amount of sales, which is awesome there as well. Last one here in Georgetown area, overall closed sales up 8.8% year to date. Prices up 4.9% at 180,500, which is awesome. We've had a lot of high end stuff. We've been really crushing and doing very, very well as well. And actually, one place I forgot to remind me of this is Pauley's in Litchfield. Pauley's sales are down 7.9% year to date, but the good news is prices are up 3.3%. 339,900 is median price there as well. So long story short, overall, we're seeing some softening last month. If you see across the board compared to year to date, what I'm seeing the pattern is the year to date numbers are performing a little bit better than last month's numbers almost all across the board. And so we'll watch that and see what happens. Again, it's one of those things that you want to take advantage as a home seller before you see any declines, things like that. I don't see a crash or decline or anything at all, but you will see these things start to level out. It's the same thing as y'all remember. If you look back on previous shows, that we're seeing other parts of the country kind of soften off a little bit as well. And so that's something we'll keep watching for you all as well. If you want, we can kind of jump really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the rates?
All right, so interest rates kind of interesting all over the place right now. This is crazy. A 30-year fixed rate is 4.87%. So if you remember last show, it was 4.70. Oh, yeah. So that's pretty sharp increase there. The bond market's been going kind of crazy. We could do a whole show on just that. But ultimately, you see a pretty significant drop. It's a 7-year high right now for interest rates. So that's something to keep watching. That will deter some buyers in the future to keep watching out. But we're right on track where we predicted to be. Everyone's talking about Q4 this year, 4.8%. We obviously hit that right in that part. Q1 2019 looking 4.9, and the average for next year talking about 5.1% interest rates. And so right now, again, a recap: 4.87 for a 30-year, a 15-year fixed rate mortgage right now 4.32%, a 30-year FHA 4.50%, and a jumbo loan is 30-year is 4.41%, and a 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now 4.10%. And so that's something that's going to play what's going on here. And so if you're a home seller thinking about selling, you want to take advantage of this. Less inventory now. Rates are not above 5% yet. So if you're thinking about selling, you have not called me yet, reach out and call me. 843-808-SOLD. We've been preaching this for weeks now, and months now, I guess, what we've been comparing to other parts. The good news is there's a whole different buyer in town when you're in that shoulder season of fall. We just hit fall, and so that's something that's going to be a huge opportunity for everyone. Take advantage of everyone who's moving down here through this process as well.
All right, coming up in just a second, we have your hot buyers alert, and we also have some fantastic success stories as well as we continue with the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Call Blake at his office at Sloan Realty Group. It's 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com.
Do you want your home sold on time and for the most money without all sorts of excuses? Hi, it's Glenn Beck, and when I had to sell my home, I went through several agents who all had good ideas, but the bottom line is they couldn't get the job done. Well, you have a celebrity.
For a real short time.
Yeah, you're only going to have, I mean, do you want to do anything more? Or do you just want to finish up? Because we're really going to have about a minute and a half to 2 minutes when we get back.
Let's just hammer the active buyers real quick, and then we'll do it one success story.
Okay.
That creates incredible demand. And that's why he can guarantee that selling your home at a price and a deadline that you'll agree to, or he's going to buy. Plus, you don't really risk anything when you list with Blake, since if he doesn't live up to the contract, you walk away free and clear. It's really no wonder why Sean Hannity and I, along with real estate tycoon and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran, endorse Blake. Call Blake Sloan right now, 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or visit Blake's website, that's blakesguarantee.com. blakesguarantee.com. Or listen to Blake's Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 or Sunday morning at 11:30 right here on WRNN.
All right, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Real quick, there's so many people looking for homes in this area. The active home buyers almost reaching the 50,000 mark. You probably, when you started this, never thought you'd get to that. 49,882 active home buyers. And I mean people who are looking on Blake's website dozens of times each day, not just once or twice a month, but they're looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area. They're looking for your home.
Still active. Yeah, these are real people, username, password. They're on the site right now, still searching after the hurricane. So what bottom line is, especially after this, I mean, there's going to be a need for inventory, right? It's going to be a huge opportunity for anyone to take advantage of that, where there's not as much competition out there into this fall season. So reach out and call me. Anyone you know that's had a problem selling, they weren't able to sell, like I said, beat them over the head with the club, drag them to our office, make them call me, because we have a massive amount of buyers. Like Dave said, almost 50,000 active buyers that we need to be able to match up with homes here. And obviously you're seeing that the numbers we just went over, very, very, very low inventory, right at 5 months inventory. So we need homes to sell. Awesome, really quick. We got like 1 minute left. Okay.
Yeah.
One important success story I'm very proud of. Just big congratulations to Patricia and Mike. Had a house listed in Carolina for us over 6 months, no action, no offers, nothing. They have massive frustration. You know, it's actually keeping them from moving back home to be with family. And they're referred to us by an amazing radio listener. That's the coolest part. We immediately identified the problem, which was terrible marketing. We came in, launched our global marketing blitz, drove massive traffic, had it under contract in 4 days at 98% of asking price. And so this is weekend. We have 2 more pages of these, but we're out of time there. If you're thinking about selling or someone you know, have them call me, 843-808-SOLD for sure, and we'll be here to make sure we can get the results they need.
And just keep in mind that just because we've just recently gone through the hurricane and there's flooding in some parts of the area, there are still people looking for homes around here right now.
Oh, they're in town looking with my team like today, right now.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
They are looking. So if you are looking to do something with your home, buying, selling, Blake Sloan is the guy to talk to. It's Sloan Realty Group. Call 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com. Again, same time next week?
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
All right. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LeBox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes.